Former Texas A&M and NFL quarterback Jerrod Johnson. And Jerrod, this game will be like an elimination game. There's no other way to put it because Jackson State comes in. They have an impressive 3-2 record in conference play. On the other side, the Hornets come in at 2-2 in conference play. Both teams are still in the hunt to make it to the SWAC championship game. However, the loser is out of that mid-race.
Absolutely. You have two good teams. You have two teams who've been battle-tested. You know, you play football to win championships, and both teams have an opportunity on this day to still give themselves a chance to win championships. So it's going to come down to the team who makes the least amount of mistakes. You got to depend on your seniors, your leaders, to kind of keep everyone calm because both sides understand what's at stake.
Let's talk about our players. You know, if the Hornets can't make a big rally, it's going to be the missed opportunities they're going to look back on at this game. So, Scott, with the blitz coming, fires inside, made a good read, was trying to go to Nigel Lee, but the pressure came on, and he went high with the football.
Tell you what, and you could see it. He's definitely feeling that hit right there. He had a free runner. He'll learn this as a quarterback. If you look at the replay here, the top of the screen, there's a guy who comes scot-free. And you can know pre-snap that guy is blitzing because they're never going to leave a receiver uncovered. So they have to, we call it cap. If there's two guys stacking each other on the formation, one of them is probably going to blitz because the guy behind him is covering the space that he's leaving.
And that's a situation where he could have helped himself a lot had he saw that ahead of time and knew where he was going.
And if you look right here at the bottom of the screen, he's capped at the bottom. And so now he's blitzing to the right. He rolled into the blitz, and now it's an incomplete pass. So
the Tigers from Jackson State coming with all sorts of pressure. They come with the blitz 2 consecutive plays, and they put a lot of pressure in on the young quarterback, trying to confuse him. He's a freshman back there, and I tell you what, they're putting a lot of heat on Chris Scott.
So as he gets older, it's something he can realize where you have your snap count, to where you use the snap count to give a tell from the defense. Peyton Manning was the master at this. We go in 2, so I can see where your blitz is coming from, so I can get my protection set up.
So Chris Scott now on 3rd down.
Man free, sitting in the house. Now the coach now look to the sideline. They saw the coverage up at the booth. Don't be surprised if you get a corner route from the inside receiver with 2 fire ends coming from the left.
They're trying to make the adjustment on offense. Scott wants to go quickly now. Gets the snap. Here comes the blitz, and we have a whistle on the field.
As he was about to throw the corner out.
So just like that. And welcome back to the Toyota Halftime Show. We are at the half, and Jackson State is leading Alabama State 17-0 in this one. Butch Alcindor along with Jerrod Johnson. And Jerrod, let me get some of your thoughts on the first half, because it's a very interesting game. Early on, it was like a boxing match, the two teams punching each other back and forth. And then all of a sudden, it started to pay off for Jackson State as they slowly but surely started moving up and down the field.
It really has been so much similar to a boxing match, you know. I mean, both teams came out and they were trading punches, kind of figuring each other out, you know, really led by both defenses. You know, they both played really well, but it came down to Jackson State making a couple more plays on offense. Jackson State was opportunistic on defense with a pick 6, and then when they got the ball in the red zone, they capitalized on it. Alabama State has really come down to missed opportunities. There's been open receivers. They've had a couple turnovers that were bad for them, and so they can find a way to right the ship. This game is still in reach.
Since you are a quarterback, let me put this to you and talk a little bit about the quarterback play in the first half. And, of course, let's start with Hayes from Jackson State. Tell me what you thought about his performance in the first half.
Well, you see veteran. You see senior leadership. You see a guy who knows what's going on. He understands the situation. He's making plays with his feet. He's making safe throws. He's understanding their defense is playing well. He don't want to do anything to put them in jeopardy because, you know, Alabama State's having trouble moving the football. So you see leadership when I see him play.
I look at Jerrod Hayes. You look at his numbers, and he's 9 of 14 for 103 yards. So he made the most of his opportunities putting the ball in the air. And on the other side, Kadarius Davis for Alabama State.
Yeah, he just looks a little jittery right now. You know, he just doesn't look settled in. The ability's there. You can see him throw the warm-ups. You can see, you've watched the games before. He has the ability, but for whatever reason, whatever Jackson State's doing defensively just has him uncomfortable. So hopefully they come back in the second half. They come in halftime. They can settle him down. He can talk to the coaches. They can figure out a plan to move the football because they're going to need to make some plays in the air to win this football.
When you look at the halftime stats, though, as we take a look there, when you look at the total yards, it's all Jackson State, 164 to 36, but also quite a difference in the passing yards. Alabama State has not been able to get that offense rolling at all.
24 yards passing. And Alabama State has some playmakers. They have Tyreek Allen. They have some guys who can make the plays. You got to find a way to get them the football. So like I said, so coming out in the second half, maybe you go some trick plays. Man, you got to throw everything you can at this thing trying to win a championship.
You're the coach Do you even consider putting DJ Pearson in the second half?
I definitely consider. I think I come out the first drive and see how things go, see how the team reacts. They can rally around. You can create some momentum. You keep the guys in. But if not, I make the change.
Let's talk a little bit, of course, about that Jackson State defense, because they have been outstanding in the first half. Not only are they pitching a shutout, I mean, they're not giving up any rushing yards. They're not giving up any passing yards. I mean, they're just doing a fine job overall.
They're playing tight coverage. And so as a defense or defensive coaches, what they really want to do is just make sure everything's contested and make it hard on the quarterback. And they've done that, and then put up a goose egg up on the board.
Okay, we'll be right back with more from the Toyota half. If you're in that Alabama State locker room, I mean, what are you telling your team that before you come out in the second half, they have to do something to generate some offense?
Yeah, all I'm saying is just, guys, we just got to execute. We have to just do the things we know we can do. I mean, Jackson State hasn't done too much to force their hand. They've just been opportunistic on the missed opportunities from Alabama State. So if I'm coming out to help quarterback Kadarius Davis, what I'm really going to try to do, I want to see some quarterback runs. I want to see some motions. I want to see some shifts. I want to see something that gives him a favorable situation for him to get comfortable, because he just hasn't looked comfortable. You have to find a way to get him settled in. On top of that, get the ball to Tyreek Allen. If he's got to be reverses, if it has to be jet sweeps, something to get the ball in your playmaker's hands and calm down Kadarius Davis.
Yeah, we're looking at Davis right here as he is warming up before the second half. But in the first half, Kadarius Davis only 2 of 8 on his completion ratio right there for 24 yards. And then he had the one pick, the 19-yard that was returned for a touchdown. So it's a very less than impressive first half.
It really has, but you've seen the games previous. He has the ability to something about this game. He's just been a little uncomfortable. So as a coach, you want to try to find a way to get him comfortable, because the only chance you have to get a win for Alabama State.
You were talking about his ability. Last week, he was 16 of 25 for 171 yards and 2 touchdowns. And so far, it's been a tale of 2 games, because he has not been able to get in sync this game, as you see his head coach, Donald Hill-Ely, on the sidelines talking it over with the officials, trying to get something straight before we kick it off here in the second half.
And from the defensive side of the ball for Alabama State, they have to try to help their offense. They need a defensive play. They need a turnover. They need everybody coming needs to try to rip the ball out, a play on special teams, something to help jumpstart this offense. And on the other end of the thing, if you're Jackson State, your whole mentality right now is we have the game in hand. Just keep doing what we're doing. We need 2 scores and a couple stops. And if we get up like that, you're going to force Alabama State in an obvious passing situation. And then now Bowie and those pass rush and those guys can get after the quarterback, and you can really seal this game away.
One thing you can say is both defensive teams have been very